It's the Prez, Lawrence Prezman, co-founder of WagerTalk.com and NFL guru. You've been listening to my videos all year. Totally different type of video this week. I'm in Vegas. I'm in the studio. I even brought one of my closest friends and NFL betting machine, Teddy Covers, to talk football with us. We will likely ignore most of what he has to say. And well, you're listening to the NFL Presidential Opening Line Report. Before we get into it, we're going to talk about both games. I want to fill you in on what happened last week. I told you guys to take Jacksonville against Pittsburgh. Easy winner. I even told you to take it on the money line, around plus 400. Cash that ticket. Told you to take Philadelphia. Told you to take Philadelphia on the money line. Cash that ticket. Told you to take New Orleans. Told you to take New Orleans on the money line. Cash half that ticket if you bet it late. But I feel I was right, regardless, because we had about a 98% chance of winning towards the end there. So like every week, you listen to my videos and you win. This week, I love both the games. And I know, Teddy, we'll get to you really quick. You're not a fan of either of these games, and you're basically just here to argue with me.
That's what I'm here for. I'm happy to be your foil, Prez. Whatever you say is probably wrong.
Two old gray men talking football.
Let's do it.
Okay, brother. Let's get into the first game. We've got Jacksonville going into New England. The line is New England minus 8.5. The over and under is 46. I have a strong thought on the side and an opinion on the total. I want to get to the side right off the bat. Flat out, I'm taking New England in this game minus 8.5. If you're listening to my videos this year, I don't normally lay such numbers. But here's the bottom line, and I don't talk about trends and statistics and, you know, what's happened over the last 30 years, blah, blah, blah. I literally look at the season as a whole, and, you know, it's the seeing eye test is how I handicap. And we've got to talk about the Pittsburgh-Jacksonville game first, because that's really what sets this lineup so beautifully. You know, people were talking about Pittsburgh, -7 against Jacksonville. Pittsburgh is garbage. They lost to Chicago. They lost to Jacksonville twice. They barely beat Green Bay without Rodgers. They barely beat Cleveland in either of their games. They won by 1 point against a brutal Baltimore team. They barely beat Indianapolis. They barely beat Detroit. They played one good team the entire year, and they were -7 against Jacksonville. Now you look at Jacksonville. They lost to the Jets. They lost to Arizona. They lost to San Fran. And they lost to the Tennessee Titans twice. When do you ever get a team in a championship game who literally lost to 4 pretty bad football teams? This is a gift for New England. Jacksonville is not a great team, and they beat a really bad and incredibly overrated Pittsburgh team last week. I'm telling you, Teddy, not only is New England going to cover this 8.5, but the score will be New England 27-31, Jacksonville 10-13. I will be blown away if Jacksonville scores more than 1 touchdown. You know, the one great thing that you can count on with New England is if they do not play a well-balanced offense, they are going to destroy the team. And Jacksonville is the complete opposite of a well-balanced offense. Those are my thoughts. You can rip them to shreds.
Well, you know what I enjoy, Prez? I enjoy when you feel really confident. You're like, I had a good week last week. I know what's going to happen this week.
You enjoy that?
There's something to be said for having a level of confidence. That being said, there's been a problem with the New England Patriots for the last 2 years, and it dates back further than that. And the problem is they've been undervalued. Consistently undervalued. The betting markets, because you and I approach games differently. You talked about the seeing eye test, which I'm assuming you're talking about the eye test and not talking about you being blind in what you're trying to put together.
Only one of us is wearing glasses.
Exactly. I can see now. You, however, are passing seeing eye tests. But when it comes to the New England Patriots, all right, the eye test has been the right way to approach this team, and the statistical models that the sharp bettors are using. And I can guarantee you, if you like New England, don't rush. There's going to be sharp money coming in on the Jags.
As we've seen already, they were
at the sharp books, this line's going to close 8, maybe 7.5 even. You know,
just for you to understand, sharp money is defined as anything the Prez bets.
I did not understand that before
Okay,
this
so
moment.
don't mess that up.
Okay, well, the wise guy money is going to come in on the Jacksonville Jaguars. But here's the story with New England. All right, this team has been a perennially undervalued commodity. Not once, not twice, not for the last 2 years.
Well, you're sounding like you
they're
like
the
New
best
England.
point spread team in football.
Well, yes.
As we come into this game, at this moment, you gave me all this stuff, what Jacksonville did in the regular season and how bad the Steelers are, and that means that at this moment, do you look at New England and say this team is an undervalued commodity? Because I don't look at New England and says that.
It's a fair.
I look at Jacksonville as the best defensive team in the NFL, the unsexy team, as being the only of the two that could possibly be undervalued at this stage. And no one believes in Blake Bortles, and everyone believes in Tom Brady, and all of that. Great. It's not just winning, it's winning by margin that matters here.
I feel you are right in
Yes!
the sense of New England being undervalued and Jacksonville, the best defense, et cetera, your argument makes sense.
Thank you.
The only problem is, as you pointed out at the beginning, New England still keeps covering.
They have.
And they've still played against defenses that are as good as Jacksonville. Jacksonville has a one-dimensional offense.
That's not true.
Come on.
That's flat out not true.
They won 10-3 against Buffalo, and they put up 44 against Pittsburgh. Let me tell you something. Cleveland put up 24 against Pittsburgh. Baltimore, for Christ's sake, put up 38. Green Bay without Rodgers put up 28. Pittsburgh doesn't even have a defense. They basically only have an offense. And then whoever comes out scores a ton. This team put up 10 against Buffalo. 10. And New England will shut that running game down. They will make Blake Bortles throw. Blake Bortles will move the yards move the sticks 3 times and then punt. They're going to be lucky to get 7, 10, 13. We know New England will put up 27 minimum. For everything you say, and I respect it, New England comes out year after year, game after game, and they cover. And they will cover here. And by the way, I do like the under in this game as well. Marco D'Angelo in his video, watch it guys, does get into it with a little bit more analysis. But the bottom line is with my predicted score of, at the most 31-13, that still adds up to under the total of 46.
Sure, it is worth noting, and I'll be brief, I know we want to move on to the other game, but it is worth noting that the Patriots are here every year. They have been here every year. In the last 6 AFC Conference Championship games, New England has covered the spread twice.
Blah, blah, blah. That's that nonsense trend crap.
Okay. Well, you're telling me that the Patriots bet is based on the Steelers stinking.
Well, it's not about AFC Championship, quarterfinals, regular season. New England covers more than any other team, and Jacksonville is not nearly as good as they look. 10-3 against Buffalo, and then they beat a disaster Pittsburgh team with a terrible coach and a crappy defense and a quarterback that constantly throws interceptions. I
could have sworn I remember was it the Miami that New England lost to? Was that the team?
Yeah, listen, every year.
And they lost to Pittsburgh as well. The refs took it away.
Oh, okay. So the refs.
They lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
if you watch the game, you know what happened. They lost the game.
Blah, blah,
blah, blah, blah. And obviously you haven't. And the fact that you're telling me that
game.
Jacksonville is one-dimensional, completely one-dimensional, tells me that you haven't watched the Jaguars.
Blake Bortles was my fantasy quarterback. I watched every game.
Oh, every game. Then you know that the Jags receivers are healthy now. They haven't been healthy for most of the season.
Well, my listeners know I've been betting
that 8 different receivers caught balls last week. Oh. You know they threw the ball all over Pittsburgh. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, anybody can throw the ball all over Pittsburgh. Cleveland put up 24 against them, for Christ's sake. Anyway, there you go. All Teddy did was argue with me, but he clearly doesn't actually have a play. I'm taking New England minus the 8.5, and I like the under. Let's get to the next game.
Let's.
Minnesota on the road, -3 against Philadelphia. The over and under is 39. Again, I look at this number with a smile on my face. I mean, Philadelphia beat Atlanta by 5 points. And now they have Minnesota coming in at -3. That would suggest to me, and again, not looking at trends and statistics, just straight logic. What the line makers are telling us is that Minnesota is 8 points better than Atlanta on a neutral field. Because if Philly can win by 5 against Atlanta, and they're -3 against Minnesota, that equals 8, and that is just not how I see it. I don't actually think Minnesota is that much better than Atlanta to begin with. I got a home team in the NFC Championship game at a dog, as they were last week, And I honestly don't see how Minnesota covers this football game. I don't have unbelievable amount of analysis for you. I think that Minnesota is a really good team. I think Philadelphia is not as good, but I actually think they win this game outright. I'm going to take Philly plus the 3, and I'm going to take them on the money line as well. You can talk in depth if you like. I hand it to you. I'm going to have a nap.
Though I need to know about the math on this again. So explain this. So Philly was a 3-point dog to Atlanta.
No, forget the dog.
Okay.
Philly won by 5.
Philly beats Atlanta by 5,
and
now they're 3-point dogs to Minnesota.
And now they're a 3-point dog, which
right.
is an 8-point difference.
Philly won against Atlanta because the Falcons' play calling.
Oh, blah, blah.
Did you watch the game?
Atlanta's right there. They won the game by 5.
Atlanta's first goal into the game, and we got classic Steve.
So Minnesota is the greatest play calling team in football. They're not New England.
I'll take my money. I'll put my money on Pat Shurmur over Sark in a second. In a New York minute.
So does this mean you're actually going to give an opinion here and take Minnesota?
No, I'm going to make a case for the under.
I like the under too.
Yeah,
I think this game is going to be 17-13 type football game.
Sure, but the whole point is that, I mean, look, everyone wants to talk about the championship games. You have to have opinions, da-da-da-da. The reality is that there's one good bet this weekend, in my opinion, of the 4 possibilities, two sides, 2 totals, and that's this under. You know, you've got 2 not good defenses. You've got 2 elite defenses, and you have 2 backup quarterbacks, and you put those 2 situations together, given the game plans that we can expect from these 2 squads.
They're going to run.
They're going to run the football. They're going to play conservative. They're
Especially
going to wait for the other team to make the mistake.
Especially Philly. Philly's going to run the ball 20-something times.
Though it's worth noting, in both games this weekend, the weather's going to be much warmer than it was anywhere last week. The temps are going to be in the 40s, even at night in Philadelphia this week. So it's not going to be quite as frigid. Though for the first game, Jacksonville weather, temp in the 40s, not in the 20s.
I'm with you on the under in this game 100%. And it's gone up. It came out at 38. It's now at 39.
Sure.
I love the under in this game, but I do like Philly as well. I think we're going to see a New England-Philadelphia Super Bowl, and I think we're going to see New England do it again. But that's next week's video.
Sure, we'll worry about that after this week.
And you won't be with me on next week's video.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, I feel the same way, dude. Should we hug? Let's hug.
Bro hug. Oh my God, this is awkward.
Okay, guys, that's the show.
Did we do that on camera?
Yeah, we did it on camera.
I feel so dirty.
Marco put out a special discount for you guys all. $10 off any package at WagerTalk.com. I highly suggest you use it on my package. Prez, P-R-E-Z for you Americans, P-R-E-Z for every normal person in the world, and then the number 10. Prez 10, $10 off any package. Use it on mine. I got 2 NFL plays up this week out of the 4 we spoke about, and I'm about 59% on the NFL season. I've actually killed it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week alone.